What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So yet again, another comparison between the newest iPhone and the older iPhone. So I love doing these type of things, kind of seeing what the differences are and all that. Now, what's interesting about this one is that we're going to be comparing the cheapest iPhone you can buy brand new at the Apple Store compared to one of the second most expensive iPhone that you can buy in the Apple Store brand new. If you were to walk into the Apple Store, these are two iPhones that you're going to be looking at probably, on the lowest end and then on the highest end. So the cheapest one is the iPhone 8. The second to the most expensive one is the iPhone 11 Pro. Now, I'm going to get one of the biggest things out of the way. If you currently own an iPhone 8, I would say going to an 11 Pro is quite a bit of a jump. You're getting obviously the bezel-less display, a bigger screen, a higher resolution screen, better performance, better cameras. It's an upgrade in every single way. But I will also tell you that going to an iPhone 10 or 10s is also a pretty big upgrade from an iPhone 8. So kind of keep that in mind. I know we're not comparing an iPhone 8 to the 10 or 10s, but just kind of keep that in mind while I'm going through this video. I'll probably bring it back up later on. But looking on the front, you have a 5.8-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, whatever Apple likes to call it, on the iPhone 11 Pro. A very, very good display in my opinion. The iPhone 8 doesn't have a horrible display. It's a 4.7-inch 750p LCD panel. It's not a bad panel either. I mean, it gets the job done, but ultimately, when in this day and age, when you can look at phones like the Galaxy Note 10 Plus or the OnePlus 7 Pro or even the iPhone 11 Pro, this type of design on the iPhone 8 looks a bit outdated. But what's interesting is that both these phones don't feel like super cheap or anything. They both feel pretty premium. The iPhone 11 Pro has that frosted back glass. The iPhone 8 does have a glass back. Mine's cracked. I do apologize for that. What I can tell you is, even though mine's cracked over here, I kind of like this feeling more. Obviously not the cracked one, but just the regular glass. I like this feeling more than this one, but I feel like this one will eventually grow on me, like the frosted back on the iPhone 11 Pro. Is it a big deal? Not really, but it's kind of a preference. So if you're into it, that's cool. If you're not, also that's also cool. But in terms of the way they feel, of course the 11 Pro is bigger. It's also a little bit thicker, that I can tell noticeably, but the thickness is warranted because you're getting a lot more cooler things on the 11 Pro than on the iPhone 8. So both don't have headphone jacks, but that doesn't really matter anymore because it's 2019, almost 2020. Lightning ports on the bottom. In terms of the internals, actually, it's kind of interesting. The iPhone 8 has IP67 dust and water resistance, so you can go up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes. The iPhone 11 Pro actually takes that up a notch to IP68 dust and water resistance, but apparently you can go up to 4 meters of water for 30 minutes, but I've heard that it's only 2 meters of water for 30 minutes, but granted, either or, it's much better than the iPhone 8s, You still have a splash resistance and all that, but the 11 Pros will be a little bit more rugged, so that's really, really cool, and I'm so happy to hear that. Also, in terms of the display, you can actually get better brightness, so higher ends and lower ends than the iPhone 8's panel. So that's actually really, really cool, and I'm so happy to say that. I say that all the time, that's such a corny thing. Now, in terms of these software updates, this is where things get a little bit weird, okay? Because the iPhone 8 has the same processor as the iPhone 10, and I've been saying that the iPhone 10 is probably going to get the same software updates as the iPhone 10s, but I'm not too sure, so I will probably say the iPhone 8 might end its same life cycle, but either or, whether it does or it doesn't, the iPhone 11 Pro will still outlast the iPhone 8 in terms of software updates. You still have the same software updates for a while now. They're both on iOS 13 right now. As you can see, I have dark mode on the settings. So what I'll tell you is yes, the iPhone 8 probably won't last as long as the 11 Pro, but currently, as of right now, especially within the first year you're going to watch this review and this comparison, most probably it's going to be okay. You're going to get a couple more years of software updates on the iPhone 8 still, so it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. So in terms of everything else, bro, that's pretty much it in terms of the outside. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a speed comparison right now, but I will tell you the specifications of both the phones and the inside. The iPhone 8 has the Apple A11 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU, and only 2 gigabytes of RAM. Is it a big deal? Really, iOS does a good job at kind of optimizing the RAM that it has, but it's definitely, the iPhone 11 Pro will definitely do a better job at that. But I've been seeing and hearing that the 11 Pro's RAM management isn't really that good right now, but I think software will eventually fix that. On the iPhone 11 Pro, you have the Apple A13 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU, and 4 gigabytes of RAM, so twice the amount of RAM on the iPhone 11 Pro than on the iPhone 8. So let's go ahead and see which one is the faster phone. Is it the older one with the lower resolution display, meaning less pixels to push, or is it the newer one, which probably, I'll tell you right now, it's probably the newer iPhone. So let's go and see which one is faster. Alright, I think this camera angle lens is kind of crooked, but we're just going to rock with it. I have some of the same apps on both these devices. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear out all the apps in the background so we can kind of just focus on the new ones. Okay, all the apps are cleared out in the background. Let's go ahead and load up Facebook. 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone 8 was the faster one there, but I will have to go ahead and recheck that. I mean, check over the camera which one was faster. I think it was the iPhone 8 though. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And I think the iPhone 11, actually I know the iPhone 11 Pro was the faster one there. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the 11 Pro was faster again there. Instagram, 3, 2, 1. I think again the 11 Pro was the faster device. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And again, the 11 Pro is faster. Now, what I want to say is look at the speed difference, okay? And I'm saying that kind of in a pessimistic way. You're paying almost over $1,000 for this device. This iPhone 8 is like half the price, brand new. You can get this one for way cheaper, like half the price of the brand new price for the iPhone 8 in the used market. But is it worth the extra money to get this little of a speed increase? Because so far there's not even 2 milliseconds of a speed difference between these. BOFA, 3, 2, 1. It's as soon as the iPhone 8 kind of loads something, as soon as the iPhone 11 Pro loads something, the iPhone 8 isn't too far behind, as you guys can see. I mean, yes, it is a little bit better, but I wouldn't pay that much more for that little bit of a speed increase. Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. Now I will have to redo this one because I was on the game for both of them. So let's go and redo this. Temple Run again, 3, 2, 1. And as you guys saw, the 11 Pro again was the faster one, but the 8 was right behind it. It's not even that big of a difference between them. Sorry, I choked on some water, but it's literally such a remedial. Is that a good word? Remedial difference between them. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. Again, the 11 Pro was the faster one. No surprise there. Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. Instagram, and again, the 11 Pro was the faster one. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And 11 Pro, again, the faster device. In terms of the performance, again, it's going to be exactly the same. Very basic game. You guys already know this. Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. $11 Pro, the faster device. Getting into some gameplay, you will see they will be exactly the same. There's very little difference between them in this game because it's such a basic game. But sometimes you do see some glitched frames in the beginning but not in this case. Paper IO 2, 3, 2, 1. Again, faster on the iPhone 11 Pro. Getting into some gameplay, I will tell you they both glitch up about the same. This is a game that's kind of just glitched up on any game, any phone that you play it on. I think it's the game itself and not really the phone, but let's go ahead and do Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. There we go. And you can see, it is quite a bit faster on the iPhone 11 Pro than on the iPhone 8, so that's a really good thing right there. And I thought I had Real Racing 3. Okay, I do. So let's do Real Racing 3. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully I don't have to download anything. I feel like yep, I knew it. So we're just not going to do Real Racing 3 right now. I'll go ahead and show you guys the benchmark score right now though. And you'll be able to see there's quite a bit of difference. 199,000 on the iPhone 8 and 457,221 on the iPhone 11 Pro. Is it a crazy difference? On paper, I will tell you, yes, this phone should be twice as fast as this phone, but that doesn't really seem to be the case, which is kind of sad. When you're spending this much money on a phone, you should expect to be getting this much crazier of performance. And it's weird. On paper, you are getting twice as fast of a phone because this phone is twice as much as this. But in real world performance, that doesn't really seem to be the case. Specs are one thing, numbers are another thing. And according to both, the specs and the numbers are wrong here because in real world performance, there really isn't that big of a difference. I don't know. So that kind of covers that. We're going to go ahead and hit on the cameras for a second. I will tell you this is going to be a very minor comparison for the cameras. I will probably have a full separate video talking about these two phones, but I don't know in terms of the camera comparison, just like a video like this, but just for the cameras. I'm not 100% certain yet because I have a lot of them I have to do. But the iPhone 8 has a single 12 megapixel sensor, but as you can tell, the iPhone 11 Pro's camera is a much better, much more sophisticated. You have a triple camera setup. All three cameras are 12 megapixels, which is super cool. Surprisingly, you can do 4K at up to 60 frames on both cameras. But I will tell you, without a doubt, obviously the iPhone 11 Pro's camera setup is a lot better. The iPhone 8's camera setup isn't that bad. You are lacking some things like obviously the ultra-wide sensor that the iPhone 11 Pro has, but also portrait mode. You do not have that on the iPhone 8, which is kind of sad. Apparently, I think this is the only iPhone being sold right now that does not have portrait mode. The 8 Plus, the 10R, all those other phones have it except this one, which maybe you don't care, but it is kind of a cool thing to have. And a lot of people, I think, since it's been released, are kind of using it a lot more now, but you can't simulate that same effect with apps. So, I mean, kind of choose your battle. Is it a big deal to you? For me, kind of is, but for you, it might not be. But in terms of the cameras, I mean, it's very basic. However, the iPhone 11 Pro has a much better camera setup. So not only do you have that additional telephoto lens, but you also have that ultra wide angle sensor so you can get more into a photo. As you can see my pants and my legs, where you don't necessarily have that on the iPhone 8. Also, the quality should be better on the iPhone 11 Pro, but you also do have things like portrait mode, slow feeds if you're into that, and so many different cool little features. I think this is still a better camera setup than the iPhone XS. I don't think it's like worlds crazy or better, but it is kind of cool, especially coming from an iPhone 8. This is definitely a worthwhile upgrade. Now moving on to the battery life, there is no competition here. I will tell you without a doubt, the iPhone 8 just will not last as long as the iPhone 11 Pro, even though it has a lower resolution display, a smaller display, I guess not as powerful as the iPhone 11 Pro. You have a bigger battery on the iPhone 11 Pro. You have a 3,190 mAh battery here, while you only have a 1,821 mAh battery on the iPhone 8. You have over a twice as size of battery on the iPhone 11 Pro than on the iPhone 8, which is so crazy. And ultimately, dude, that's a pretty big deal. Battery sizes do determine a lot. So what I can tell you is, in terms of battery life, you will be better on the 11 Pro than on the iPhone 8. There's no question about it. So that ultimately kind of completes this comparison. What I will tell you is, without a doubt, the 11 Pro is the better device. Any way you look at it, it is the better phone, faster phone, better looking, more features, this and that. But I will tell you, I don't think it's worth the price that you're going to be paying for it. Like, I don't think this is worth $1,000. I don't think the XS was worth $1,000. I don't think the 10 was worth $1,000. I think this is a better value per dollar, but this is a much, much better phone. So if you don't have either of these phones, I will tell you, pick up 11 Pro, okay? If you have to go the brand new route, if you're going to into the Apple Store, 11 Pro, much better. If you currently own an iPhone 8 though, I will say keep it. If you can keep it for another year, next year's iPhones are supposed to be super crazy, but by then, these iPhones will go down in price as well, so you can probably just pick one of these up. But on top of that, like I said before in the beginning of this video, going from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone 10 or iPhone XS is still a humongous upgrade in my opinion. You're getting that bezel-less display almost with a notch, Face ID if that's something you like, OLED display. You're still keeping Force Touch on the XS and 10 if that's a big deal to you. And you're getting kind of a speed increase if you're going to a XS. The 8 and 10 have the same processing chip or whatever, but I've been getting higher clock scores on the iPhone 10 than the iPhone 8. So what I'll tell you is, keep your iPhone 8 if you can. If you have to go get a brand new phone or whatever, pick up a 10 or XS in the used market. But the 11 Pro, still an amazing phone. One of the best phones you can buy right now. Obviously the best iPhone. So that's pretty much it. I will go ahead and leave the cheapest iPhone 10 and XSs that I find on Amazon. They'll be the first links down in the description. Make sure you buy it from there so you guys can help support the channel at the same time. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.